A very good afternoon and welcome to the Big Club grounds here at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, as we look out over the ocean and wait for what is going to be a sea of blue, black and white that's going to come your way on the screens of the Papare.com in just a short while. St. Thomas's taking on St. Joseph's at home for the Lady Jayatilaka Trophy, the 64th encounter between these two sides, and St. Thomas's leading convincingly in that tally 43-17. But in recent past, which is the only thing that matters, St. Joseph's have won this trophy 3 times in a row under Teran Karunanayaka last in 2022. St. Thomas's last winning under Christian Delisle in 2020. So lots of pride for St. Thomas's to play for, and the trophy for St. Joseph's to defend, the Lady Jayatilaka Trophy, and that's going to be a classic encounter here with not just a trophy on stake. Joining me in the commentary box, James is going to tell us how the permutations of this game are going to look for this group as well. Both these teams playing pretty much for a knockout spot.
Absolutely, Shanaka. 11 points each for both teams, and they have a spot to secure for the super rounds. Only 2 teams going forward. As we look at the weather, it's quite hot and humid as usual in Mount Lavinia. The wind speed 16 kilometers per hour.
We'll look for that temperature to drop rapidly in the first quarter of this game, of course. This is where the sun goes down, and probably the sun is at its hottest for the next few minutes, and the toss will be vitally important. We don't know who's won the toss, but usually the team that is defending would, or the team that wins the toss would like to defend the Thalassa side, which is the side away from us in the pavilion, which is where the ball, the sun shines over us and makes it difficult for the opposition fullback. Last week's results, Isipatana in a tense game against DS Senanayaka, tense because it was a really high-paced affair, 22 points to 6, winning convincingly. St. Peter's travelling up to Pallakale and beating Trinity in their own home grounds, 22 points to 10. Royal looking really good since their first hiccup of the tournament on the first weekend, 44 points to 3, smashing Zahira off the park, and Vidyartha and Dharmaraja in a frantic encounter up in Bogambara. Vidyartha winning that one 29 points to 22. And then we had Kingswood taking on, just tell you in a second who Kingswood took on. Kingswood took on St. Joseph's and lost that one quite convincingly, again up in Kandy. St. Joseph's running out convincing winners, so they are the form team if their performance from last week was anything to be judged by. We're having a bit of a technical issue, but here we are now, points table. We have, having a bit of a technical issue. We'll fix that up very quickly, and here's the points table. Isipatana leading quite comfortably. DS have played 4 games, so they have a game in hand over both St. Anthony's, St. Thomas's, all 3 of St. Anthony's, St. Thomas's and St. Joseph. So all the Saints are trailing in the wake of DS Senanayaka. But depending on the outcome of this game, we should be able to see a little bit more clarity of exactly what's going to happen at the end of this round. And then we will have, so it's only St. Anthony's and St. Thomas's who have played 3 games. All the other teams have played 1 more. And that should, of course, change at the end of this weekend. So let's wait and see how this points table works out at the end of the next 70 minutes. This is what it looks like on the other side of the draw. Royal leading comfortably. St. Peter's following up despite the fact that they beat the group leaders. And it's Zahira, Vidyartha, Dharmaraja, Trinity and Science College don't really have an opportunity to catch up with St. Peter's or Royal. So it looks very much like that group is already decided. And Zahira, Vidyartha, Dharmaraja, Trinity and Science College will be playing pretty much for bragging rights and how to maybe playing for next season, to be quite honest. So Lady Jayatilaka Shield, one of the shields that has been awarded many years ago. Rene Silva and Sahan Kirtisiri are the top point scorers in this Dialog Rugby League 2023. Both, of course, place kickers, and Rene scoring a few tries to boot, but Kirtisiri has been the breakout player of the season, James.
Remember last weekend he had a close to 60-meter kick. As we look at the top try scorers, Navin Marasinghe and Disas Patera. Navin Marasinghe would like to claim that spot for himself in this game. Quite an important player for the Josephians.
Marasinghe will be the man to watch for St. Thomas's College in their defense. Looking at the electronic scoreboard here at the Big Club grounds and looking at the other games today, Royal are playing Dharmaraja at home. They will be firm favourites for that one, although Dharmaraja did beat Royal's traditional rivals Trinity, so they will be trying to run the Reed Avenue boys close. Zaira versus St. Peter's at Maradana. St. Peter's should win that one, we think. Isipatana versus St. Anthony's at Longton Place, so St. Anthony's travelling as well. Could pose a surprise, but Isipatana looking too good. And Trinity versus Science at Pallakale. This is going to be an interesting encounter, isn't it, James?
Absolutely, Shanaka. Trinitians not looking themselves. Just one win. That's also against Vidyartha College that gave everything in that game. So a lot to play for both groups.
Looking out over the two teams. We'll be back after the break.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔබම වෙන්න.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
නැවුම් බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා හම්බිට් සංවීති සමකට කැමෝයිල් බික් ෂේවිං ෆෝම් අත්විදිය හැකි වෙනසකට. Aloe vera and mint for freshness, chamomile for sensitive skin, lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam, a change you must experience.
Cheese with the yalu set the smiley bedanava. On a vela because not kakadakama hit a big spenava. Sarah Kamati, I was a pura with the Sarah. Calypso makes it on a vela, Kanagamayana. Born in life like a breakup, Karagana salsa not on the bar. Lulu Rata with the onion kick, full happening manaba.
Ratatama rasa bedana manji rasa balakai then alut vela.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. WeKYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Welcome back to the Big Club grounds at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia. You're watching the Lady Jayatilaka Shield match introductions to the two teams. To the chief guest, Mr. Chaminda Rupasinghe. The Papare.com bringing you most of the action live and exclusively in this Dialog Schools Rugby League. 2023. Here's the St. Joseph's College visitors lineup. Jehan Adakorala, Chamod Kavindya, Induvara Sandesh, Ayeshan Lanka, Janit Marasinghe, Vishika Fernando, Sachintana Vaidyanatha, the experienced man, and of course the man mountain Navin Marasinghe. Vihanga Randeepa is at number 9, Bhishma Jasekara comes in, and Shanuka Alahakun at 10, Ivano White at 12, Ruchita Rodrigo, Senita Iran, and Randika Jahanjaya moves from 10 to 15, although he's got 10 on his back in this game. Disoisa Rodrigo, Malinda Kumara, Silva Gamage, De Silva, and Brian Fernando make up the replacements. And the home team, St. Thomas's College, a few changes for them. Mohammad Hakim, Kavisha Lenagala, Jahud Pereira, Samantha Pereira comes into number 4. Shevin Udugama, Resha and Dwight. Shanal Fernando moves to flank, and Dehan Senaratna comes into the number 8 position. Venuka Vikramasuriya started all the games. Mahit Pereira is at 10. Deshwan Navaratna comes in for his defense on the left wing. Vian De Silva, the skipper. Ahmed Rifaz is the man who comes back into the starting lineup. He's been dropped for the last 2 games, but coach Shamli Nawaz has found faith in him, and Akit Kure has come into the right wing position. Dihan Bulak Singhalage is the key man at the back for St. Thomas's, the kicker, and he will direct where St. Thomas's play the game today. Fernando Ranjit Singh comes into the side, is a new face in the squad. Fernando, Jared Martinstein, Shalin Seneshka, Jayasinghe, and Noah drops from the starting 15 to the bench for St. Thomas's College today.
2 interesting lineups, Shanaka. And as usual, Josephians would want to look at their forwards. We will be using their forwards. These are the 2 teams getting ready for the big game. A shield to play for and a spot in the super rounds in this Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023.
Lady Jayatilaka shield donated by her son Lucian Jayatilaka. And it's the 64th encounter between the 2 teams for this trophy. St. Joseph's have won it in the last 3 times of asking. Teran Karunanayaka leading his team to a win in 2022. Of course, we lost a couple of years due to COVID, but Christian Delisle was the last captain to hold it aloft for St. Thomas's in 2020. And can Vian De Silva be the next one? See the rectors of the 2 schools, the warden and the rector. On the left, Sir Rupa Singha, the chief guest. Coaches Shamli Nawaz, looks like he's learned the school song as well. He's been here a few years, so certainly would have heard it often enough. Good continuity for St. Thomas's with Nawaz in the driving seat for a few years.
That's a very rare sight, Shanaka. Usually schools, if the coaches don't deliver within 1 to 2 years, they keep rotating the coaches, but St. Thomas's College deciding to stick to Coach Nawaz. They're having results right now as well. Just losing out to St. Isipadana College, but winning comprehensively on the other two games.
Thomian schoolboys, I must say, haven't really come out in their numbers. Unfortunately, you'd expect the school boys to pack the crowd's stands here. Good travelling contingent also. I think I spotted St. Joseph's number 1 fan, Honourable Minister Harin Fernando, in the crowd. As the last touches are done by the physio. And St. Joseph's look to the heavens for inspiration from St. Joseph. And the Thomians will look to the ground and aim to drum up some emotion and some help from St. Thomas, as the match officials Ishan Kabekun, Aruna Shanta and Gihan Kavinda will be the men in the spotlight. Hopefully not, James. I think the less we talk about the referee, the better the game will be. And in a game where we have seen thundering All Black performance early on in the evening. Many of you on the Papare.com will be settling down to watch your favorite school team wherever it is being played, up in Kandy or here in Colombo. Enjoy what we have out in front of you for the next 70 minutes as St. Thomas's in the blue and black take on St. Joseph's in the blue and white.
White's ready, Captain.
Yahan Bulatsingalage will be a key member of this Tomian side
Blue
today.
ready, Captain.
Moved from 10 to 15 in what I thought was an inspired move
Get behind.
to allow Mahit Pereira to really run the operations from behind the scrum. Bulatsingalage puts the first kick up and it's collected safely by Vaidyanatha for
Go back, last
fact
foot.
it's Ayeshan Lanka for St. Joseph's. So immediately Vihanga Randeepa puts the ball up.
Roll
Doesn't
away.
go very far.
Last foot, go back.
Here's St. Joseph's throwing their big forwards at the equally big Tomian pack. And St. Joseph's opting to run. Here we go. Initial tackle miss. Here we go, stepping inside. Shanuka Alahakun was brought in down on the turf. Here they go.
Release now, release now. Back.
Sandesh Indura.
Last foot.
St. Joseph's opting to run from deep inside their 22 and
back,
finding
go
the
back,
dividends. Randeepa now looking for his forward runners. Here's Marasinghe smashed back in a good tackle from Udugama. Here's a little bit of space now opening up. Good bustling run through the middle into the 40-meter line.
Offside.
Through the hands it
Ready,
goes,
advantage.
but referee's playing advantage. Lovely hands. Dragged down in the tackle was Ivano White.
Back.
Referee still playing advantage for St. Joseph's. Here's Navin Marasinghe. They've marked him well, St. Thomas's in the first
Advantage.
2 minutes. But the referee Shankar Bekun says nothing's happening, so he will come back for the penalty advantage for the Tomian line being offside. So a promising start by the Josephians.
Absolutely, Shanaka. Good running lines, using the backs, using the width, putting pressure onto the Tomian defense. Tomians are looking good with the line speed of the defensive line, but this time around losing it and giving away a penalty. It's always a gamble when you come up in defense. You might give space on the outside or give away a penalty. It's a slight margin there.
Offside.
So Randeepa, in fact it's Ruchita Rodrigo who will kick this one to touch, and it's a brilliant touch finder. Outstanding kick by Rodrigo. And they will have the put into the first line out of the game.
They would definitely go for the rolling maul with their big forwards.
On the line, on the line.
Chamod Senivaratna to throw in. St. Joseph's in the front through Ayeshan Lanka. Now they join. Here they go over the line. It's easy as you like. The first try for Chamod Senivaratna. An interesting line out, James. They split the line out very visibly. One pot at the front, nothing in the middle, one pot at the back. And then they made sure that when the hooker joined, they had enough weight to shove over in the initial 5 meters. So St. Thomas's have been put to the sword early on in the game, having conceded space out wide and then being broken up the middle with Ruchita Rodrigo stepping up once again after that brilliant touch finder to try and put the finishing touches and ice the first try.
Brilliant move, brilliant set piece. Credit goes to both players and the coaches. St. Thomas College didn't look like they had an idea of what to do when they saw that split pods. Rodrigo lines up the conversion.
Lovely kick from Rodrigo. It's a difficult ground to kick at, but it's quite still at the moment. Not a lot of wind. So I think he will be quite grateful for that. Rodrigo, outstanding kick. And 7 points to nil with just 3 or in the 4th minute of the game. Here it is, St. Joseph's straight through the middle, and St. Thomas's just can't get enough bodies back behind them. And a very easy try for St. Joseph's to start off proceedings. But it all started in the opposition 22, James, because they chose to run, and I think that caught St. Thomas's off guard. They didn't come up fast enough and just allowed a lot of space.
Something to look at early on in the game for the Tomians, as Bulat Singhal with a high-hanging kick.
Taken deftly, and they're looking to move it outside once again. Good tackle that time. Rifas trying to go through the middle, but the forwards have beaten him to it. The pass is not tidy, but Vaidyanatha will look to try and set something up here.
No, ball is available. You can use the ball. Stay put, last put.
Here it is for Marasinghe. Marasinghe chooses to pass this time. Good tackle that time, brought safely to ground by Vian De Silva. Here's the big man once again, Sandesh Induvara. Marasinghe brought to ground well by Senaratne. Good tackle.
Yeah, you can't run.
And here's Rodrigo, who puts this high up in the air, but easy as you like from Yahan Bulat Singhal, who will field those all day and try to find the 50-22. Just short of the 50-22. But the ball will go to St. Joseph's.
Just missing it out, but good presence of mind. As soon as he collected the ball, he looked up, saw the space, and a brilliant kick. Not unusual conditions for him. He's used to this place.
Yeah, mark your gun on clean gap at the boys.
It's a lovely diagonal ball that he kicks. Would have been upset not to find that 22-meter line. He's found it before in this season. Vaidyanatha in the front of the line out. Really good defensive jumper, but equally good as an attacking jumper. Jayot Pereira standing up front.
Okay.
And he has done really well. Jayot Pereira have upset the Josephian Mall, but legally, here it is made available once again for Reshma Jayasekara. Nice hands from Bulat Singhal again. And unfortunately for Deshwan Navaratna, he can't stay in the field of play. Lovely little back of the hand offload from Bulat Singhal, who is a basketball player.
Explains his height, Shanaka.
And his skills also with the ball. Very good ball handler.
Yeah, center mark, center mark. Center mark.
Josephians on the last line are also using the split pods. But Tomians got the upper hand of at that time. But this time around, yet again a successful maul.
Vaidyanatha again in the middle. And Jayot Pereira goes in to try and disrupt.
Go back.
And he does well.
Ball over.
That's taken forward by Chamut Seniviratne, the try scorer. Randeepa has nowhere to go, so has to go back into his mates. Here it is to Sandesh Indruva. Here's Marasinghe. They bring him down.
No hands, all away first.
Here it is for St. Joseph's once again. A little bit of space on the outside. Holding on in the tackle for dear life was Kure. And Udugama does well to counteract at least momentarily. Reshma Jayasekara hands off to a big pot of forwards once again. St. Thomas is outnumbered at the breakdown. And here's a lovely angle. From the big Thomia, the Josephian truck runners. Jayasekara. Here it is for Janit Marasinghe. Straight through the middle. Lovely offload once again St. Joseph's really playing well in close quarters. Here's Janit Marasinga. Sandesh Indruvarala.
You roll away. Number 8. Number 8, don't do that. Last warning. Not rolling away.
Not rolling away in the defensive tackle. Taken quickly. Off goes Navin Marasinghe again. St. Thomas's have been under the cosh. Here it is for Rodrigo. There's space on the outside, and that's exactly where they're going to go. And Shanuk Alahakon will score an easy try. Navin Marasinghe is sucking in all the defenders, and St. Thomas is just brutally outnumbered out wide.
It's really nice to see a school team, Shanaka, building up faces. You quite often see school teams trying to score off 2-3 faces, but St. Joseph's College keeping position, building up face after face, and then winning the penalty, and Marasinghe sucking in all the defense, leaving space out wide for the try scorer.
It's nicely spotted by Randeep as well to the right side, and if we go back to that visual just a few seconds earlier, you'll see all the Thomian defenders haven't folded around, James. They haven't come around to where the danger is. They're just watching the ball on the blind side.
This is something they have to look at soon and fast. 10 minutes up on the clock already. Josephians 2 tries up with the conversion to come in the second try.
They're going faster than a point a minute, the Josephians, as Ruchit Rodrigo sizes this one up and kicks it just wide this time. So it stays at 12 points instead of 14. And Bulat Sanghalage will have to kick off for what seems like the umpteenth time in the first 11 minutes.
Thomians are not looking great, Shanaka. They're just walking without any intention to play as the Josephians. This time collecting cleanly, Marasinghe giving an offload.
Going off the feet is the call. Like Asha and Kuma, who's on the in fact it's Randika Damja who went off his feet. So St. Thomas has win a penalty for the first time in this game.
This could be the turning point, Shanaka, if they want to turn things around. Early on in the game, they have plenty of time left. Bulat Sanghalage deciding to go for touch.
They have to chase the game already. It's show a statement of intent. Kavisha Lenagala to throw in. And nobody was ready. Absolutely nobody was ready to jump, and the line-out woes continue for St. Thomas's. Good defense inside the 22 and good clearing kick as well, but Bulat Sanghalage will wait for this one. And it's Kure that knocks it on into the arms of the waiting Josephian attackers.
No advantage. First knock on. Oh.
Thomians are finding it hard to keep position with themselves. Yes. Whenever they have set piece, this team uncoordinated.
Their ball.
Kavisha Perera, Lenagala threw in the ball in that line out. Didn't look up to his forwards to see who was going up.
It looked like he threw it in before anybody was ready to receive it. So
Coach!
Have to wonder who was at fault there, whether it was Lenagala or whether his receivers were just having a nap.
Steady, boys.
Saturday afternoon nap.
Okay.
Randeep with the feed.
Stay bound. All in. Now play on.
St. Thomas is dominant in that scrum, but doesn't matter because there's plenty of space. Bulat Sanghalage forced to clear under a bit of pressure. Keeps the ball in field and it's knocked forward by Janit Marasinger, who's deputizing for his brother at the back. So a let-off for St. Thomas's. Maybe it's the change of momentum that they need to try and get back into this game.
Marasinger didn't have a clue. He's not looking at the ball, making a mockery of it. The game has slowed down a little.
Right, boys, hurry up.
As the mistakes start to happen, I think the heat
Crouch.
is getting into the players.
Bind.
First scrum for St. Thomas College.
Set. Steady.
Venuko Wickramasuriya feeds in the ball.
Now, ball in. Stay.
Managing to secure it. Gives out to his line.
Backwards.
First touch is not a good one for Mahit Pereira. Looks to try and find a little bit of space, dancing away the little man. Gives it to his vice captain. And really good work at the breakdown by Marasinghe. So not a good pass from Venuka Wickramasuriya to his fly half. Didn't give him front foot ball, and from that drop, they've conceded a penalty. So Thomas is really creating their own problems, James.
Absolutely. There was no pressure for them. Josephians just playing through the movements. As Rodrigo with a good touch finder. Getting closer to the center of the field.
Mark a gun.
This is the time that the Tomian captain should bring everyone together.
Straight line,
Tell them
boys.
we
Straight
have
line.
to change this now. Focus on the basics, handling, keeping position, then things will turn around.
Just inside their own half, St. Joseph's, but again Vaidyanatha is quick to the jump, but the referee spotting that crooked throw. This is something that St. Thomas should have been doing from earlier on by getting up and contesting these lineouts.
Step back, gun.
Very first time Josephians put under pressure, they're making a mistake. They would want, the Tomians would want to make something out of this, something positive. They're bringing the entire back line of your screen together.
Set. Steady.
Almost reaching the entire quarter mark of this line. Ball was available. Wondering whether players should have. Referee Abe Kuhn explaining to the front rows what needs to be done. As good front rowers, they just smile and nod.
Fine. Set.
Surely they would want to repeat the same thing to gain an advantage, Shanaka.
Stay bound. In.
Wickramasuriya at the back. Better ball to Mahit Pereira this time. The ball to Vian De Silva is not a good one. Then the skipper has to go down and hold on. Really good work once again from Sachintana Vaidyanatha, who for me, despite the Marasinghe brothers and their ability to gain ground, Vaidyanatha for me is a standout player of this Josephian team.
Absolutely brilliantly done. Poaching that ball. Mahit Pereira was clueless at that time. Initially he thought of going for a decoy, but then decided to pass the ball to De Silva, who didn't expect it.
That's a move that needs to happen with a little bit more depth, James. They were very flat to the line. And that's good because Mahit Pereira is a quick player. But the support runners really need to come from a little bit more depth. Real breakdown in communication as Rodrigo will step up from well inside his own half. This will be a monster kick if it goes through. Ruchita Rodrigo. As a respectful hush comes down over the big club grounds. He's thumped it, but not long enough. Taken, and Bulat Singalage will have enough time to clear this one. And it goes off the hands of the try scorer, Shanuka Alahakon. and rolls into touch. So another little bit of good fortune for the Thomians. But they've had a few moments of luck which they have not been able to convert into any kind of points.
Shanaka, as you see the replay, this is always a hard task when you are on the turf at the Thomian grounds. It's a slight slope that you cannot expect and see. Thomians going for a short line out, but makes a mockery of it this time around.
Lenagala throws it well over the retreating pod as Janit Marasinghe goes straight through the middle, and that time Navin knocks it on. So the younger brothers, good work, undone a little by the elder captain, but he certainly won't be having a word about it because he knows how the hierarchy works. It's a good pass, but he looked up just too early. Navin Marasinghe, to be fair, Chanal Fernando was
Lenagala for the Thomians, I think, is under pressure now. Two line-outs not going his way. That's going to affect his momentum.
St. Thomas is feeding from the right side this time. Senaratna goes off the back. Mahit Pereira straight through the hands of Vian De Silva. So none of the Thomians want to hold this ball, it looks like, as De Silva goes into contact. Oh, beautiful counter ruck from Navin Marasinghe, taking the entire Thomian ruck with him. Such a destructive force. Vikramasuriya now to Pereira. Pereira to the big man Jayod Pereira. Penalty. Jayod Pereira has been doing some hard work in the number 3 jersey today for St. Thomas's. But the ball handling has really let the Thomians down so far.
And also the body language of the Thomians. They don't look like they want to play the game today.
match එක ඉන්න පුළුවන් එක රෙෆරි කෙනෙකුටයි. ඔයාලගේ කෝච් කතා කරනවා. එයාට කියන්න මම රෙෆරි කරන්න. එයාට කෝච් කරන්න කියලා. ඊළඟ පාර මොනාර දෙයක් කරොත් මම එයාව ඊළඟ මගේ මොකට යනවා කියලා මසෙජ් දෙන්න. කියලා එයා ළඟට ගිහින් කියලා.
Well, that's an interesting one from Ishank Abekun. Sends a message through the skipper, Vian De Silva, for Shamli Nawaz to not be an assistant referee from the sidelines, and that he will be seeing a yellow card if he continues. So Nawaz, a very passionate watcher of rugby,
Captain, okay, happy.
Needs to
Time on.
calm himself down, according to referee Abekun. He's having words with the assistant referee as Jahan Bulatsingal again lines up the first opportunity that St. Thomas's have had to gain some points. It's a good 50-meter kick just off the 40-meter on the angle, and that's a thumping kick. Brilliant shot from Bulatsingal, and that should give the Thomians a little bit of confidence. It's like one of those, when you get a kick from such an angle, James, it's like a brilliant catch in a cricket game, isn't it? That
Get behind the kicker.
creates a wicket out of nothing. And this is something that the Thomians can use to try and lift themselves up, because as you've said, the body language doesn't look fantastic.
Absolutely, and a brilliant, brilliant kick. Knowing the conditions,
Okay, Mama.
it was brilliantly done by Bulatsingal. So 3 points against the 12 points scored by Josephians early on in the game. Close to 23 minutes in our clock.
Rodrigo to kick off. It's the first time that St. Joseph's had kicked off. It's deep to Bulatsingal, who bounces this one onto the trophy table almost.
Not the kick that he wanted. Didn't have much pressure as well.
Ayeshan Lanka being given very clear instructions not to jump across. Referee has been going on about this to both teams, not to close the gap since the start of the game.
Yeah, behind the line.
Chamod Seniviratna to throw in for the Josephians. Dwight at the front of the Thomian line out to try and contest. Up he goes. but it's a good ball won by Ayeshan Lanka and taken into
Back.
the maul by Jehan Atukorala. Mahit Pereira flying up to make an important tackle. Bulat Singalage, can he get across? Nice hands from Bulat Singalage. Really good chase though, and it was Navaratna that got tackled. St. Thomas is really lucky to get away with that one. St. Joseph's going off their feet in the tackle, but Bulat Singalage chose to make the inside pass, but the Josephian chase was so good.
Very, very lucky there. I think it would have been a better option if he had kicked the ball out straight away rather than putting his fellow Tomian under pressure.
Wasn't expecting that pass, I don't think, Navaratna. But no damage done as far as the Tomians are concerned. But they will need to get a little closer to St. Joseph's on the scoreboard to make this match a little interesting. Here he is absolutely no space, but the chase was fantastic from Zenith Iran.
Wait, go back, go back.
Lainagala this time around managing to get it to his players.
Complicated line out, but well won in the end by Rashawn Dwight coming in from the first receiver position. Seemed like a high tackle on Mahit Pereira.
High tackle. Number 9.
Doesn't take a lot to high tackle Mahit Pereira. He's quite low to the ground, but you really have to be safe. Shenal Fernando, rightfully, is very upset with the Josephian players because that looked like it was a pretty big smash.
Player go down, player go low, then low.
That's Mahit going down, and then that's a shoulder into the head. And I think perhaps a little lucky not to get a card there.
I think it was the mitigating factor of Mahit Pereira coming down with the tackle on the back. And the referee explained that to the skipper, Tomian skipper as well. Johan Bulat Singalage with the momentum from the previous conversion wants to go at it again. This time around, slightly easier, I would say.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 call. Mahit was on the way down, but it was also no attempt to wrap the arms there from Vihanga Randeepa. So referee's gone for, I think, the only option he could without a TMO available. Here's Pereira getting up. It's tackled from behind by Chamo Chenimirati. She's on the way down, but no arms in that tackle from Randeepa, going straight in and into that drive. So if there was a TMO replay, I think the result might have been different, but from what Ishan Kabekun saw on the park, I don't think anyone will blame him for making the call that he has. Bulat Singalage. It's a nice strike from the lanky fullback, and he puts St. Thomas's within one score. That should ease the pressure for the Tomians. Just shaving it on the inside of the right post.
Tomians bringing down the deficit to 6 points. Just one converted try away.
Ruchita Rodrigo will restart.
Okay, play on.
The ball is knocked back. Good tackle made by Vian De Silva.
No.
Another good tackle, that time by Savanta Pereira.
No, you are fit.
Randeepa looks to the blind side. Tackle to the floor is Reshma Jayasekara, who's playing at fly half today. There's a nice blind side opening up once again as Janit Marasinghe will take it towards the short side. Inching towards the 22-meter line, St. Joseph's. Another thundering bust by this big Josephian pack. Here's Navin Marasinghe. It's channeled back by the Thomian defense. But there's been a knock-on on the floor and some good defense by the Thomians.
Very well fringe defend, very well defended on the fringes there by the Thomians. Josephian pack looks really good with the Marasinghe brothers. Pushing through, using their feet to gain the tiniest of meters possible.
Well, they're really strong lads, aren't they, James? Can see Akit Kure looking like he's seen better days. Knows he has to defend that shorter channel when Marasinghe comes at him. Vikramasuriya all the way back to Bulat Singalage, whose long boot will go straight into St. Thomas's chaplain Samuel Ponnaya's arms.
Second row, jumpers, jumper, captain goes karna end pa captain kata, safe line in.
Referee for the third time advising the jumpers not to close the gap. Next time I'm definitely sure that he would go for his pocket, not a straight throw. Josephians now struggling with the lineouts.
Well, ever since St. Thomas has started contesting, James, that Chamod Seniviratna seems to have been under a little bit of pressure. So it's important in this game, especially when you've got a strong forward pack up against you, that you contest the ball at every given opportunity. So St. Thomas's have just started doing that and put Seniviratna under a little bit of pressure. But St. Joseph's are really big truck runners, smashing their way into this Thomian forward pack, who seem up for it at the moment. Vikramasuriya, nice ball to Mahit Pereira. Here's Vian De Silva stepping back in field, dragging him down in the tackle.
You lost the ball.
Good defense by St. Joseph's. Now Mohammed Hakim takes it forward. Big man. Shenal Fernando.
Go back.
This is a good continuity for St. Thomas's for the first time really in the game. Hakim with a nice lovely ball out. And Navaratna gets smashed into his own bench. Lovely tackle, nothing wrong with that. It's good to see. Nothing nicer than seeing a winger who's herring down the touchline getting smashed by a cover defending third rower. And Navin Marasinghe did exceptionally there to catch up with him. But good hands from Mohammed Hakim. Playing a bit more like his father, Arshad Kabir, who was a centre in his time.
There you go, Navaratna trying to cut back inside as he was running out of space.
It was Vaidyanath actually who made the tackle. Marasinghe came in to assist, but St. Thomas's look like they have turned this over. Here's a little bit of space now coming up on the blind side again. Shenal Fernando.
Last foot.
Vikramasuriya looks for Hakim. Hakim taking it forwards. First time St. Thomas's have got an opportunity to return the favour to these big Thomian forwards, big Josephian forwards. Jayod Pereira. Not rolling away is the call. Nicely done that time by Shenal Fernando to trap the player inside the ruck.
Saw the player trying to get out of the way. Straight away went on to the player, putting him down, milking out that penalty. Giving another chance for Bulat Singalage to add 3 more points to their tally.
Well, the way they started, if they finish this half at 12 points to 9, I think the Thomian fans and the Thomian team will be very relieved.
Bulat Singalage would want to keep 100% record with his penalty conversions.
What out?
Almost at the same point that he took the first penalty.
Maybe a little further in front. Didn't hear the crowd erupt. And it stays well wide of the post. It was a close one. We had the assistant referees looking at each other, and neither of them were sure. But Bulat Singalage with his first miss of the afternoon, but they'll still have a 22 dropout to face.
The kick had better connection, but not the accuracy. Slightly missing it on the left post.
Rodrigo now to make that 22-meter clearance. Mahit Pereira, they go high on him once again. Nice little back of the hand offload to Venuko Vikramasuriya, his scrum half. Good tackle made by Vishika Fernando that time. And St. Joseph's marching over that ball, but St. Thomas is recovering well. Chanal Fernando, straight through the middle he goes. Good presentation by the Thomian vice-captain. Here's Mahit Pereira.
Number 25.
Here's good hands from Lenagala, but as I say that,
Number 25. Offside.
St. Thomas's will have another penalty, and you would think that Bulat Singalage will go for posts once again.
Sensible call, Shanaga, because they've been trying to break the defense of the Josephians to score some points. They've been struggling to get into the red zone of the Josephians.
Well, a lot of people sitting at home might argue that, you know, you're 40 meters behind, go for touch and try and go for that driving maul or try and get closer to the try line. But St. Thomas's have no confidence in their line-out, James, and I think you've got to take that into consideration when thinking about this decision. And Bulat Singalage will line this one up from just about a couple of meters left of the last one he kicked.
And when you have a kicker like this, captain would always go to him when everything else is not going right, as Bulat Singalage lines up.
Struck that beautifully. Right between the uprights. It's good for his confidence as well. 12 points to 9. And it looks like it is half-time. So, as we thought, 12-9 was how it finishes at Lemons. Don't forget that this coverage (12 points to 9 at half-time. St. Joseph's, the visitors, leading St. Thomas's in this Lady Jaya Tilaka Shield, trying to retain this trophy that they won under Teran Karunanayaka last year. This coverage brought to you by Keel's Crest Naimery Sausages, the bite that bites back. If you're in the mood for a bit of spice for your hangout party, Keel's Crest Naimery Sausages is the ideal pairing to spice up your parties, hangouts and gatherings with a unique all-new flavor that will have your taste buds with a hint of spicy Naimeries. This all-new sensation is brought to you by Keel's Crest, one of Sri Lanka's most trusted and loved food brands.
As we look at the highlights of the first half, Josephians first to get some points, and soon after 5 minutes of the first try, St. Joseph's College managed to get the second try through Allah Hakon. Rodrigo not managing to get the conversion. Then Thomians decided to show up to the game, Shanaga, managing to get 3 penalties converted to Bulat Singalage. Make the score 12 points to 9 in favor of the Josephians.
We'll see how the second half unfolds. 35 minutes more left in this Lady Jaya Tilaka Shield. Everything to play for. Will St. Joseph's come out all guns blazing like they did in the first half? Or will St. Thomas's manage to smother some of that pressure and put some points on the board via the reliable boot of Jahan Bulat Singalage? They need to score some tries as well, the Thomians, and they'll discuss that at halftime. But we'll be back with the coverage of this Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023, brought to you by Keel's Crest Naimeris, in just a few moments.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Smiley bedeනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරල කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා
රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. WeKYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
With one more bite of Revelo for sunshine.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. WeKYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න. නැවුම් බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා හා මිට් සංවීති සමකට කැමෝයිල් බිග් ෂේවිං ෆෝම් අත්විඳිය හැකි වෙනසකට.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම් හැමදාම no problem. ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරල කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා
රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම් හැමදාම no problem. ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Manicure hot and spicy, trending fashion on a navy. Rasa baby, Papare beat ke Saturday ko tumhe pandavi. Nata baby, Saturday kapuna, rasa diva fire na. Saradavi adanari ko tumi pantama. Fun update bena, hot cup pe kapmana. Saradavi adanari ko tumi pantama. Prima ko tumi pantamai.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම් හැමදාම no problem. ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
beautiful outside and inside.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම් හැමදාම no problem. ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Manicure hot and spicy, cheering got the navy. Satte devi, kappe ate, match එක පන් කරලම ලාවි. සර දෙවි, හිත තාල නැත වෙනා, වන් මිනිම වින්නුනා. සර දාවි අද නාරි කොතුමි පන්දමා, වන් papare play වෙනා, set එක connect වුණා. සර දාවි අද නාරි කොතුමි පන්දමා. විමා කොතුමි වන් තමයි.
Here on the Papare.com, and if you're watching us on Dialog TV as well, of this Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023, you're watching the Lady Jayadilaka Shield. St. Joseph starting off with an absolute blitz, scoring 12 points in 10 minutes with 2 tries, and St. Thomas's slowly inching their way back into the game with 3 penalties courtesy of the boot of Yahan Bulatsingalage. That's the Tomian captain, who will be hoping for a Herculean effort from his Tomian side to try and win this game, because St. Joseph's, James, have looked like the better side in that first 35 minutes.
Absolutely, they've been playing really well, coordinating, running into space, and putting the Tomian defense under pressure. As Rodrigo kicks off the second half, we are hoping for a better fight from the Tomians.
Taken by Vikramasuriya, trying to run it out of their half. It was Rifaz with the dummy and straightening through the gap. Here's Mohammad Hakim.
No.
He's been making some good meters, Hakim. Jayud Senaratne.
No, get back.
Jayud Pereira, I should say. Here's completely knocked on by Savanta Pereira, but then worse than that, he stood and watched the ball, which is something that the Tomian team has shown to be an Achilles heel for them. Their reaction time is actually very, very slow. Listening to the referee, who says release was Senaratne.
No.
And after a promising start, St. Thomas's have just had their ball handling let them down once again. Here's the big man, Mara Singh, high-stepping his way towards the line. Vaidyanatha is over! Sachintana Vaidyanatha, the unsung hero of this Josephian team. An absolutely outstanding player who knows his way to the try line, is superb in the defensive effort of the field as well, and also is a fantastic ball player in attack.
Captain.
Brilliantly done there, seeing the space, quick pick and go. Tomians caught napping there. We've seen this in the first half as well. Tomians not defending around the fringes of your screen. Conversion goes through.
Yes, it was a real shame, because it started with so much promise. They looked like they wanted to try and run the ball, but suddenly finding themselves down on the scoreboard, more than 3 points. Was the conversion missed there?
Conversion went through, so score.
So it should be
Blue number 4.
19
points.
points.
Blue number 4.
There you go, replay. Tomians were running away from the fringe there, just giving space to Vaidyanatha to score that try.
So that is really the problem that this Tomian defense has faced throughout the course of this season. Doesn't seem like it has gotten fixed. Same problem in the first couple of tries. Hakim to knock forward, so the referee will come back for the first knock on. Again, the hands just letting them down. St. Thomas is making a substitution as Fernando comes on in the number 17 jersey. I'll tell you who's gone off in a moment.
Not what any fly-half would want when they have fast ball, to have a forward in the middle of the line.
Yes, it's really tale of self-inflicted injuries for St. Thomas's. They're lucky to have the scrum. Senaratna goes off the back, but Vaidyanatha again with wonderful anticipation, making a hit that makes Senaratna drop the ball. The Domians have managed to hang on to it. Here's Chanel Fernando. Here's Lenegara. And the ruck was formed, says the referee. There was no release. And unfortunately for St. Joseph's, the turnover is not good. It's a no-brainer that they knock it over from here.
Referee having a discussion with his assistant, saying that pressure put on by Vaidyanatha is not deliberate. He was trying to tackle the number 8, Deshan Senaratna.
It's just something that really bugs me, James. I mean, you were too young to watch Shamli Nawaz play. But I cannot believe that he allows his number 8 to take so long at the base of the scrum. These guys pick the ball up, have a cup of tea, and then set off on their run. And by that time, any good flanker, we saw Gamage do it for Isipatana, and now we've seen Vaidyanatha do it. He's going to get up and smash you. You've got to have that explosive power. Of course, not everyone's a Bilal Hassan or a Haris Omar, but got to have some degree. As the ball sails through the uprights from Bulat Singalege, you expect him to kick it from there, the form that he's been in.
Blue number 13.
And St. Thomas's get within one score once again. You can see that Bulat Singalege is up for the fight, but hopefully the rest of his team will join him.
Trying to get his team's morale up. We saw that just before half-time when he kicked the previous conversion as well.
Ruchita Rodrigo will kick off. Ball straight down to Singalege, who will as far down the field he can. Again, the Tobian chase eventually gets there. No tackle made. That time, lovely running. Randeepa, can he go all the way? Lovely switch. And out to Alakon, the first try scorer. And St. Thomas's do well to come away with a penalty. Wonderful counter-attack from Vihanga Randeepa. And unfortunately for the Josephians, a little bit of discipline.
What a run there by Randeepa. Shanaka looking up, cutting back inside.
That's the dummy that he sold, and Rifas bought it. Hook, line and sinker. Desperate tackle by Bulat Singalege. And in the end, Akit Kure does enough to stop the rot. Thomas is very lucky to get away with that one.
Randeepa wanted his supporting player to cut back inside. If that had happened, he would have gone for another try. Very lucky. Referee clearly instructing the Tomians that after you form the line out, players cannot switch.
Not straight is the call.
What do you want?
So both hookers under enormous pressure. And St. Joseph's will gratefully take the scrum. Plenty to attack from. And this is well on the outside shoulder.
Bye.
One thing
look for Marasinga off the back. There's plenty of space, 15 meters of it on this short side. Bright has to be alive to the threat. There he is. But he spins out of the first tackle. Thrusts Akit Kure out of the way. Makes only 8 meters, which is not a lot for Marasinga.
Release it.
Randeepa. And that's another dog leg in defense from Mahit Pereira. Making yards is Janit Marasinga. They're trying to hold him up. Ball becomes available. And Vaidyanatha now will go off on another run. Almost finds space. But hanging on for dear life that time was Fernando. Shanal Fernando has done well to let go and keep his discipline. Marasinga now with great body position. Going into the fringes.
Go back.
Thomian fringe defense has been found wanting so far, and St. Joseph's do exactly that. Fake left and go right. Superb body position from these Josephian forwards who are attacking the line. Sandesh Induvara has made so many meters, the front row forward.
You going off it? Going off it? Off it.
Josephians inching closer and closer. Just 2 meters off the line.
This is some vintage forward play by the Josephians, looking for their bonus point try. Almost over the line, just too short. And here's Chamod Seniviratna. Can he get it over? No, he can't.
5 meters. Offside.
The referee says it was offside, so St. Thomas's don't concede now, but looks like they might any moment, the way things are going.
On the line. Go back.
Vaidyanatha put on his back. Perfectly legitimate tackle. No worries about that. And the try is scored. It was coming, and eventually it's Navin Marasinga, the skipper, who scores the bonus point try for St. Joseph's.
Brilliant work by the forwards of Josephians. Held on to the ball, face after face, putting the Thomians under pressure. Knowing that the fringe defense is not at its best. Marasinga, the skipper, leading from the front.
Looks like St. Joseph's fans have come with their firecrackers, and that's one of them for sure. Navin Marasinga. He's a big lad.
You can't touch.
And made all that size count close to the line. Not just him, but his brother and the rest of his 6 forwards. They're big units, all of them in this Josephian forward pack. Gone are the days of big units in the Thomian forward pack. This is one of the bigger packs since the 2000 team was a giant forward pack, league winning side under Gavin Jasekara. But this Josephian pack rivals the size and strength of that one. Marasinga nice and low to the ground for a big man.
Referee clearly informing the Thomians that they have to release before going for the ball. There has to be clear daylight. Pulat Singhala with a high hanging kick, contestable.
It's taken quickly, and stepping inside and outside that time was Kure. Manages to go inside into the 22. Set the inspiration that this Thomian side needs, as Shanal Fernando takes them just over the 22. Victor Masuria, Mahit Pereira Waiting and waiting and waiting. Goes through the gap. Mahit Pereira, does he have the pace to go all himself? No, he doesn't. And hands it over to Reshma Jasekara. The offload just going nowhere. And Bulat Singalage will have to tidy up at the back. But Mahit Pereira showing how dangerous he can be. Bit of space for Liana Gunawardena, who's come onto the park. Here's Chanel Fernando, nice bust up the middle. Here's Dwight, first time with the ball in hand. He's been doing plenty of work on the defensive end. Mahit Pereira again. Lenagala. Here's quick ball for Pereira. Nice ball to Vian De Silva. Vian De Silva stepping in, stepping out, and he's over the line. The skipper scores. The skippers exchanging tries here at the big club grounds at Mount Lavinia. Vian De Silva returns the try that Navin Marasinghe scored at the other end. And suddenly, we have a game on our hands.
Absolutely brilliant. Where has this Tomian team been, Shanaka? Backline coming together, exploiting the space. Quick, fast ball coming out of the rucks. Brilliantly done. The forwards getting onto it. Mahit Pereira. Brilliantly done, giving it to his keeper. Takes on 3 defenders. Goes on to score.
It's a beautifully delayed pass from Mahit Pereira. Due 2 players and had the ball skills to make that little pop pass to De Silva. This conversion is all important. 24 points to 17 versus 24 points to 19 will read very differently. It's a key moment in the game. Just a little bit of a spark there from Kure, who caught that ball. And it's just squeezing in through the left upright. Wonderful kick from Bulat Singalage, who would have had his heart in his mouth for a few seconds. But eventually, it goes through the uprights and makes an all-important conversion. 24 points to 19.
Now's the time the Tomians should understand. Go slightly going in to understand when they have fast ball, Josephians are finding it hard to defend. So that's what they have to exploit in this Josephian side.
Well, it's 20 minutes to go in this game, and anything could happen. Ruchita Rodrigo will now try and... That was misread completely by the Tomian forwards. Got to start on the touchline, just like a fielder has to start on the boundary line. Have to say, Kavisha Lenagala hasn't had an afternoon to remember.
This is the line out to redeem himself and help his team to turn things around. Just 5 points, just a try away from getting the score to tie as Lenagala goes for the first spot this time around.
Vikramasuriya to Pereira. Hakim with a nice little dummy. Bulat Singalage, he's taken it back so he can't kick it out on the full. Taken at the back by Randika Jahamja. He's not had a lot to do. Eventually the ankle tap brings him down. Tomian defense is up quickly.
Release down! Release down! No hand!
It's available for Randeepa. Looks for Vishika Fernando that time. The ball is ripped and it's now available for Vikramasuriya. Vikramasuriya look for his big forward. Jayot Pereira goes into contact. They need their faster men with the ball. Now Mahit Pereira. Bulat Singalage steps inside. Lovely little handoff to Mahit Pereira once again. Puts the kick in at the back. And a good chase that time by Navaratna.
No. Rock.
Here it is. Navin picked it up at the back. Janit rather. Good tackle by Navaratna. Did everything right in that moment. But well cleared. And Navaratna is the man who knocks the ball on. Looks like the referee will stop play because there was a bit of late tackle there. It's a raised knee, I think, that he's concerned about.
There was contact on the head of Navaratna. We would like to have a replay to have a better understanding. Assistant referee Arnashanta speaking to Shankar Bekun, man in the middle.
Play India. No. It's a low kind of offense.
Player was in the air, says referee Abekun. Navin Marasinghe says he's sorry, and I'm sure he is, but it won't stop him playing that. There's absolutely no malice in that. Navaratna was a much smaller player and showed immense bravery, I thought, James, going up for that ball. He would have heard the thundering footsteps of Navin Marasinghe, especially on that turf. But he did enough to try and it was the trailing arm that clotheslined the player, so it was clumsy. Nothing malicious about it, but more clumsy than anything else from Navin Marasinghe. And is this the 10-minute period that St. Thomas has come back into this game?
Number two.
Absolutely, this is a golden opportunity for them now. Lenagala, more pressure on his shoulders, but this time...
Wait.
Lenagala goes off.
Wait.
And it looks like
Get
it's
back.
Senaratna who will come in to throw. Has been playing hooker previously, Senaratna. And Dwight finds it. And this is the first time St. Thomas's have been able to really get one of their driving mauls going. Senaratna now goes into the 22. Vikramasuriya to Shenal Fernando. Fernando into the 22 he goes.
Get back.
Fast ball for Mahit Pereira that time. Here's the other Fernando.
Now release, clear release.
Vikramasuriya now back in his usual place at scrum half. Smashing in is the Thomian deputy.
No.
Vikramasuriya, here's Pereira. Here's the new player, Fernando.
Ball away.
Lots of Fernandos in this Thomian forward pack.
No, ball is available.
Vaidyanatha again with a crucial tackle. Here's Mahit Pereira, lovely angle from Hakim. Really good ball from Mahit Pereira to the big prop forward. Here's Fernando again, inside the 5-meter line. Here it is from Hakim again, going over the ruck. Good clearing from the Thomian forwards. It's a lovely angle once again.
Not crawling away first.
Vaidyanatha goes in, but the referee has got his arm up for a penalty. There's a little bit of space opening up now, a little bit of daylight for St. Thomas's.
No, release now.
It's almost a carbon copy of what we saw at the other end of the pitch.
Last foot, go back. Offside.
Inching towards the
Offside.
uprights, and that's the try. Nicely done for Mohammad Hakim, who also tells Janit Marasinghe what he thinks of his defense.
Vice captain,
Apologize for any profanities you might have heard on that broadcast. Mohammad Hakim with the try. Is it a match-winning try? Perhaps not yet. But it certainly does put St. Thomas's on even keel.
Thomians, I think, took it out of the playbook of the Josephians, kept the ball close to their forwards, had good continuity, managed to get that try. Referee being clear with the Josephians, tacklers have to roll away. We saw a player going directly to the ball. There was no problem there, but there was a penalty advantage to the Thomians. That's why it was continued as Ihan Bulat Singalage, for the first time, having a chance to get the lead for his team.
Don't think it was intentional from the Thomian players, but they were inching towards the uprights. And that made a huge difference to now put St. Thomas's into the lead on the scoreboard. 26 points to 24 with Janit Marasinghe, Navin Marasinghe rather, out on the in the sin bin, and you can see that St. Thomas's have lifted. The crowd has come to life finally.
Thomians now in the lead. Interesting last few minutes in this game.
Right, number 5.
Well, this is where teams are vulnerable, aren't they, James?
Number 18.
Saw St. Thomas's against Kingswood as soon as they scored, coughing the ball up and allowing Kingswood into the game. There's a danger of that happening again. Have they learned from that experience will be what we'll find out in the next minute or so.
Time on.
It's a big substitution. Sandesh Induvara, who has carried the ball really strongly. He's been one of the outstanding ball carriers for St. Joseph's today. He goes to the bench.
No proper communication between the two players.
Well, he says accidental offside, but there's absolutely no material impact on the play. This is it's a really interesting call. There was no Josephian within about 15 meters of the two Thomian players who ran into each other. But the referee deems that it was worthy of a stoppage.
Just the two players going for the ball. Interesting call from the referee. As you see on the replay, both players having their eyes on the ball, just going for the ball.
Fine.
Didn't see there was anything wrong with that, but referee Ishan Kaabekun thought otherwise.
Save out. Change. Play on.
Could have understood if he said it was a forward pass, which it might have been. Ivano White, a big man. And here's a mirror of what happened on the other end. Hakim going in after that ball.
One movement shot.
The penalty is coming. It's not a try. The referee was on the spot to see that the tackle player did not release the ball. And although the Josephian crowd thought it was a try, it wasn't. It's a penalty to St. Thomas's. Because if we look at that replay, you'll be able to see that the Josephian ball carrier walks on his knees towards the try line, which is not allowed. And again, St. Thomas's live to breathe another day after a silly mistake almost allowed the Josephians back into the game.
Get out of jail free card for the Thomians, and the referee confirms that there's 10 more minutes in his clock.
Nithik Rodrigo is the man in the number 5 jersey who has come onto the park. Sachita Jayatilaka. There's nothing he can do except help dry the ball. And nicely taken by Resha and Dwight. Mahit Pereira. Nice little dummy, and Bulat Singalage will get the ball. Keep it nice and low as he rakes this down the field. The chase has to be good as Dahamja is a great counter-attacker. Beautifully done by Dahamja. Stepping 1, stepping 2, taking it over the 50-meter line, and the ball is kicked and goes into touch.
I think it will be brought back for the initial knock forward.
Blue number 11 off.
Good work to
Blue number
rip
11
the
off.
ball off, but could manage to keep it with himself.
Hurry up.
Thomian showing good intent in this last quarter, Shanaka. They'll have to keep up with it until the final whistle.
It's like watching a Novak Djokovic tennis match, isn't it, James? Because suddenly they woke up and started playing. It's as if they didn't want to be there for the first few minutes. Here's the gold 3-in-1 hair and body wash. Only 800 rupees.
Coach!
Recommendation after rugby matches, or indeed in this weather after watching a rugby match.
Set!
Hakim, the tight head, doesn't engage.
Referee having to give a lesson on how to do a scrum
boys, hurry up.
with his forwards.
Coach! Fine. Set. Steady. Steady.
Tomian scrum has
Okay.
done well against his Josephian pack without the 8th man in it. Here it is for the dangerous runners. Shanukal Hakun, Dahamjaya in the line. Dragged into touch. It's good defense that time by Noah, who has come in. Noah, who was dropped from the first 15, wants to prove a few things to his coach for sure.
Brilliantly
Hurry up,
done.
boys. Come quickly,
Fall for the
boys.
inside step.
Hurry up.
All coaches would say use the touchline as the last defender. Track the player towards the corner. Nice to win another line out.
Senaratne throws in quickly, and that combination of Senaratne and Dwight has worked pretty well in the last few
number 20,
lineouts
go back.
for the Thomians.
Number 20 sides.
Makes you wonder why it was
Penalty
not
advantage.
used earlier when Lenagala was struggling.
Right.
Ivano White looks like he's moved into the forwards, and he's been pinged for joining from the side as Vian De Silva now comes in on the angle. Vian De Silva through. Puts the little kick in, had no reason to do that. Completely unnecessary. Didn't back himself against the last defender and could have had a brace if he just kept that ball in hand.
With his physique, Shanaka, you would expect him to go through that player.
Over. Gaining, down gaining.
Well, here he comes, the talismanic Josephian captain.
Number 5, number 5. Out. Wait.
And in comes the speedster as well, Coach Nilufar Ibrahim,
wait.
sending Brian Fernando on to see if he can just create a moment of brilliance.
Time on.
Chamod Seniratne with a crucial line-out throw. Dwight in the front, hoping to poach. Vaidyanatha. And that's a beautiful throw to Ayeshan Lanka. And here's Marasinghe, just fresh from the sin bin. Here he goes. The Josephian crowd on its feet. Lovely hands from St. Joseph's. Here's the Dahamjaya again. The Dahamjaya still going. Nice strong running by Randika Dahamjaya. And here's a penalty coming once again. So St. Joseph's finishing the match how St. Thomas has started it. Lovely poach from Jared Martinstein there. Did really well. Skipper's mum in the back, Royal Raymond. Cheering on Vian De Silva.
7 more minutes, says the referee. So
Yeah.
players continuously asking the referee for the time. They want this to be over, Shanaka.
Shamli Nawaz. His heart must be in his mouth. All Bulak Singhal again needs to do is fine touch, and he does that. Anything still. Ruchit Rodrigo has been good from the mark. And any penalty within 40 meters, you'd think that he would be having a shot. Attempted one from about 52 meters out earlier in the game. So he's confident. That's him. So St. Thomas's have to desperately play the game in the opposition half. As Senaratne, Deshant Senaratne will throw in. Looking for, again, the same mistake occurring over and over again for both teams. It's a repetitive skill, isn't it, James? Just keep throwing. Thomases have
Hurry up,
used
boys.
2 throwers, Senaratne and Lena Gala. Here's Leena Gunawardena, who has come in to inject a little bit of freshness in place of us.
Also, the throwers should understand if it's not into last man, they should make the decision.
Set.
Tell the forward, we are
Set
playing
it.
the first spot. That's
Set
where
it.
we can get the ball, keep position.
Tackle.
Pressure on the Josephines.
Stay bound.
Marasinghe now.
Marasinghe off the back. Vian De Silva drags down his opposite number.
Going off it. Going off it.
St. Joseph's with the last roll of the dice here. The Hamje, who has been really good in this last few minutes. Brilliant tackle on him by Leena Gunawardena. Dominant tackle. Here's Vishika Fernando.
No, going off it.
Done
You.
plenty of running. Randeepa. Here's a nice long ball out from Ayeshan Lanka to the danger man Vaidyanatha. Here's Janit Marasinghe. Brave in the tackle that time was Kure. Again dragged down. This is some intense stuff here. Smashing away towards the try line. There's plenty of time left in this game. Here's Vishika Fernando again. St. Thomas's will try to hold him up. And now he has got his knees on the ground, so they have to release. Vaidyanatha, tiring Vaidyanatha to a tiring Marasinghe. Here's the ball to Dahamje. Dahamje has been a real revelation. Knocks it forward though, and St. Thomas's defense holds.
Both teams giving their hearts out. Josephians doing everything they can to attack, break the defense, and Thomians up for the task, holding on, not giving anything to the Josephians.
My goodness, this has been a real physical battle up front, hasn't it? I thought I'd seen the worst of it when I watched the All Blacks play South Africa. This hasn't been anywhere near there, but for schoolboy standards, my goodness, this has been a thump fest.
Absolutely. As the Thomians now, they have a chance to get out of jail, create something out of this.
It's a beautiful blindside opening up for Senaratne if he chooses to use it, but they probably will not.
Offside.
Vaidyanatha is offside, so they will play the advantage. That's a nice little...
Not 5 meter.
Vaidyanatha
Not 5 meter.
just allowing the pressure to get to him, and that time the slowness of the number 8 break actually worked in St. Thomas's favour.
I think it was the players were deceived. The ball looked as if it was out of the scrum, but Senaratne managed to keep it inside, milking out that penalty.
Yes, it was well done by Senaratne in the end. And just from under his posts, Bulat Singhal again needs to find touch and does the unglamorous thing of keeping it nice and low and making sure he gets to the sideline
2.5 more.
without going for distance. Referee just checking with his assistant that there's 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, don't close the gap, White. Don't close the gap.
The biggest 2.5 minutes in this game, Shanagar. Everything to play for, just 2 points between the two teams.
So again, Ayeshan Lanka will go in at the front. He's a deadly jumper. That's exactly what he does. Ball has bounced forward. St. Thomas's don't manage to snaffle it, but St. Joseph's do. Marasinghe off the back. There he goes. Still going. It's dangerous from any position on the field. Here it is for Ruchit Rodrigo, straightening. Brought down in a good tackle by Fernando.
Advantage over.
And St. Thomas's have thumped this one forward. There's no one at the back for them.
Josephians this time around not managing to keep the ball with themselves. Handling errors when going into contact, costing them. Thomians, on the other hand, keeping their head straight.
Last play.
Well, it looks very much like the infectious nature of this ball handling has spread from the blue and black to the blue and white. But it's under pressure, James. I have a lot of sympathy for these boys. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's humid. They've got to hold this ball. the last roll of the dice. Nicely done by Ayeshan Lanka. Chamod Seniviratna doing well. Here's St. Thomas's holding on to this maul. It's gone down. And that's the game. The maul goes down and the referee rules that it was unplayable. And it looks very much like St. Thomas's have retained the Lady Jayatilaka shield, much to the dejection of a Josephian outfit that came out all guns blazing, but just didn't have enough of the tank to drag themselves over the line. And this Thomian team, they stayed in it, they stayed in it, and they stayed in it. And you'll hear a lot in the next couple of days on your WhatsApp groups and your newspaper headlines about Thomian grit. But this is exactly what it looks like in person. But an outstanding game of rugby from both teams. And St. Joseph's can really hold their heads high the way they took it to St. Thomas's. But in the end, just couldn't deal with the pressure.
Thomians with a mighty performance in the second half, Shanaga. Picked themselves up after the not so great performance in the first half. Josephians had no answer for it. They didn't expect that. And it's time for us to decide for the player of the match, Shanaga.
I think it's been a very interesting game, but as much as Jehan Bulat-Singalage kept St. Thomas's in the game in the first half, I think he deserves a commendable mention for that. And I thought the Marasinghe brothers, both of them, and of course Sachin Vaidyanathan, were really good for St. Joseph's. I do think that the forward pack that St. Thomas's had, it needs to come from there. And I think for me, the way he carried the ball, the way he was dominant in the scrums, Mohammed Hakim, for me, is the man of the match in the tight head for St. Thomas's.
Absolutely agreed to that, Shanaka.
Keel's Crest Naimeri sausages brought to you by Keel's Foods. If you want to spice up any gathering or hangout, do use the Keel's Naimeri sausages to your advantage as you do on a rugby pitch. It will spice up any of your gatherings. Here's the highlights of the second half. Here's Vaidyanatha ghosting his way through the fringe, completely wrong-footing the Thomian defense. Bulat-Singalage kept them in it. And this is Janit Marasinghe scoring what he thought was to try to put his team into the lead. Here's Mahit Papare with a lovely little draw and pass. Vian De Silva that time kept the ball in hand and went over the line. The skipper scoring a crucial try. And here's Mohammed Hakim going in for what turned out to be the match-winning try, James. And there we have it. 4 tries St. Thomas's, 4 tries St. Joseph scored. They've got the bonus point. St. Thomas is scoring only 2 tries but 4 penalties. So discipline was something that St. Joseph's would need to go home and have a look at. And 4 penalties from the boot of Jehan Bulat-Singalage as well, proving to be the difference between the sides.
So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Josephians if they want to get selected for the Super Round. But the Thomians now have the upper hand along with DSNNI College to get on to the Super Rounds.
Well, this makes the match between St. Thomas's and DS really all to play for, doesn't it? They thought they've got over the line here, but they haven't, and that's exactly what's coming up on the 21st of July. At Havelock Park, DS hosting St. Thomas's. Isipathana taking on Wesley. That should be an interesting game as well. We'd expect Isipathana to the favourites to win that one. St. Peter's taking on Science. Trinity taking on Royal in the all-important Bradby Shield game. Kingswood taking on St. Anthony's, and Vidyartha playing Zahira. So the first leg of the Bradby on the 22nd of July. Thanks very much for joining us on this coverage of the Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023. Vian De Silva will be the captain who takes home the Lady Jayatilaka shield after Taran Karunanayaka won it for St. Joseph's last year. And after a lapse of 3 years, St. Thomas's will retain the old lady in their trophy cabinet for at least the next year. Thanks a lot for joining us from the big club grounds at thepapare.com. From the production crew, from James and myself, Shanak Amrasinghe, it's goodbye for now.
විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. Gold ඔපම වෙන්න.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside. Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Nerum bava rakadena kumarika mint. Sangeethi samakata Camo oil. Big shaving foam. Athvidya heki venasakata.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. WeKYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. Gold ඔපම වෙන්න. Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. WeKYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Your embrace so warm with one more bite of Revelo for sunshine. Don't wanna miss this pouring rain, pleasing my soul with one more bite of Revelo for the rain. This freedom takes me north that I have never been. With one more bite of Revelo for love never felt this good. With one more bite of Revelo for love.
Cheese රසට යාළුව සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සැරට කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැර ඉල්ලනවා කැලිප්සෝ මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්සා නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වෙනවා අචි
රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා
හිත තාලනට වෙන වන්නිනම වින්නුනා සරදාවී අතනාරි කොක්තුමී පන්තමා ප්‍රීමා කොක්තුමී පන්තමයි
මේ ජොබ් එක අදම කරන්න ඕනේ. අදම? No problem.
ඕගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ ඉවෙන්ට් එකට. ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එක black.
Black? No problem.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. ස්වභාවික සාරයන් හිස පෝෂණය කරයි.
නටමුද?
No problem.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.